Thanks for tuning into your program, Security Watch Africa, and welcome to the station Africa Independent Television. We are in that time of the year when there always reports of increase in criminal activities. Starting from the month of September, October, November, December, there are reports of criminals wanting to deprive the law-abiding citizens of their precious properties. And this call for us all to be very, very vigilant and watchful. First of all, you must ensure that you keep your life away from social media. Stop letting people know how much you have gathered for the year or how you plan to spend the holiday time or the period or the money you have gotten, because by doing so, you may be exposing yourself to danger. There are so many kidnap cases that are from internal based on what you have shown them on social media. You create a lot of enmities and expose yourself to danger. It's important for you to ensure that you live and provide security for yourself, and you must develop that security consciousness. Welcome to your program. My name still remains Patrick Abambo. This edition will be bringing you that report that you will be very, very excited about what is happening and how we're preparing for the year end. But that won't be before this comment. During the week, there is this picture that was trending on the social media, particularly of one of those, I think they say it's a celebrity, Regina Daniel, handling a gun. I must say that from information we have gathered from the security agency, that is very, very unlawful. And we are informed that even she was there with her husband and some security personnel. If you must practice how to shoot, you must do it in a shooting range, which designated shooting range, and not in where people are living. And again, the caliber of the arm that is being used is not allowed to be used by any civilian. So it's actually something that should not be encouraged. Nigeria has not given that license or permission for you to handle arms and use it at any house. So the law enforcement agencies must do their work to ensure that this is not encouraged. Yes, like I said, the aftermath of the EndSARS protest led to a lot of attacks on police stations. So many arms were taken away from the police stations, and this have emboldened some of these criminals. During the week also, somewhere in Surulere, we saw some youths marching and walking on the streets, praising themselves with arms, obviously showing that they are in control. Sit back and listen and watch this and listen to what is said.
Ìṣọ́kù ònù wá kì pọ́ǹpù wà ńlẹ̀, ìṣógan wà ńlẹ̀, ìjọba ti fẹ́ ni, ẹ sára àwọn French tó tún wà ńlẹ̀, ìyá yẹn tẹ́bá bẹ́ẹ̀ máa kú, point and key, ẹ̀yẹ ló ní Surulere, ẹ̀ ṣáà ti rí. Rocket rolling!
That Nigeria talking about. See lawlessness everywhere, talking about point and kill. These are slangs they use in picking out their target and shooting that target. We should not allow cultism to take over our society. It doesn't do good to the development of this country. So we are calling on Lagos State Police Command and all other states command where you have these cultists still brandishing guns and moving around the street to please mop up these criminals and take them off our streets so that the law-abiding citizens can go about their lawful businesses without any fear or favor. Yes, today we'll be bringing you the report from the Nigerian Army to show you what happened during the week at the Army headquarters with the Chief of Army Staff. Sit back as we bring you this report by Shuli Daniels.
The Nigerian Army headquarters in Abuja received two prominent and strategic sets of visitors who came for familiarization and briefing. At exactly 10 a.m. Wednesday, 18th November 2020, the newly appointed Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Babangida Hussaini, arrived at the Army headquarters to familiarize himself with the administration and operations of the Nigerian Army. The PAMSEC was full of praise for successes recorded so far by the Nigerian Army in various operations.
I bring along with me the goodwill of the Honorable Minister, who has graciously approved this visitation. and who has also indicated his concern that he should have driven this program, but all the same, my presence should suffice for now. I look forward to a more engaging relationship in future, and also to assure you on behalf of all the management staff of the ministry that we are turning a new curve to ensure that the mandate of the ministry is achieved. I thank you so very much for the warm reception. I congratulate you for the various successes recorded over the years since your assumption to this office.
He urged that all the various arms of the Nigerian Armed Forces must synergize for total victory against insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria, as the Ministry of Defense is willing to collaborate with them.
Over the years and since my assumption to duty, I've noted that several gaps exist in terms of harmonious working relationship, and that shouldn't be so. Upon my ascension to duty, a lot of reform initiatives have been taken, starting from introducing monthly management meeting within the ministry so that departments will cross-fertilize ideas in order to bring about a system. A system, of course, we all know is characterized by two key elements: interrelationship and interdependence. So therefore, if we have to work as a team, certainly every department should be able to have a clear idea of what the other departments are doing. It is the same message I'm bringing, Chief, to you, that the ministry under my watch as the PAMSEC will provide the required platform for you to discharge your mandate efficiently and effectively.
In his response, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, congratulated the newly appointed PAMSEC and solicited for improvement in the release of resources allocated for hardware, training, infrastructure, and barracks rehabilitations.
I want to congratulate you for your wealth of experience that you have brought to bear in this strategic ministry. Thank you very much. I will also like you to take some few issues back to the ministry to see how you can support the Nigerian Army in particular. One is the area of procurement. We know the resources are very lean, and what comes to the Army is something that we barely manage to procure for us to prosecute the needed operations. But with the intervention of the ministry, both procurement for defense equipment as well as for development of barracks and cantonments and our institutions, this will go a long way in making us comfortable and making us to operate more effectively.
As the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense was leaving the Army headquarters, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.Y. Buratai, led his principal officers to receive the House Committee on Army, led by the Chairman, Honorable Abdulrazak Namdas. The legislator, who had undertaken a nationwide tour of Army formation as part of their oversight functions, came to brief the Nigerian Army leadership on their findings.
We have actually visited several Army formations and units. I want to say that we want to thank the leadership of the Nigerian Army, because all the formations and units that we visited were received very well, and they gave us all the necessary information that we require. And with this, we want to thank you for facilitating to ensure that members of this committee are given access to whatever information they actually require.
General Buratai, who thanked the visitors, threw light on some of the Nigerian Army operations.
You've gone and you have seen yourself the efforts that we have made, and from your comments we feel much reassured and confident of your full support to always execute the oversight function that you carry out for us to get enough funds to continue to improve on the welfare as well as the administration and operations of the Nigerian Army in order to execute its own mandate of defending Nigeria from external aggression, and also ensuring the maintenance of its territorial integrity. And of course, as we've been called out to support the civil administration in internal security operations. This we are very much pleased, and we thank you most sincerely for your frank observations and comments on the findings you have made.
He, however, appealed to the committee members to assist the Nigerian Army in addressing all the needed interventions. Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yeah, when those who are charged to monitor, carry out oversight function of the security agencies are doing their rightful job, then the security agencies themselves will do what is right to protect your life and my life. So welcome. Yes, you know, one of the states in the Federation that ensure that the country is not starved, that Nigerians have the resources to be able to carry out their responsibility and government do their work is Rivers State. In the recent past, Rivers State has been bad news in terms of criminal activities, but a new sheriff arrived, a new commissioner of police arrived during this period of coronavirus pandemic, and things seems to have changed for better. Security Watch Africa visited Port Harcourt, Rivers State to hear what is happening, and we saw it. So sit back as we bring you the report from Rivers State, Port Harcourt.
That the present Rivers State is dotted with developmental projects in almost every nook and cranny of the state cannot be unconnected to the peace and safety of lives and properties of the Rivers people. Development in any form, many have opined, cannot take place in any society, even with the availability of resources at the disposal of government, without peace and security. Since the assumption of office as the Commissioner of Police, Rivers State Command, CP Joseph Mukan have re-engineered the security architecture of the state, changing the security management he met on ground, giving room for what he calls intelligence-led community-based policing. This, he says, is in line with the vision of the Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Abubakar Adamu.
We know that when this IG come on board, the face of policing in Nigeria has changed. His policies has repositioned the force. And if you follow what the IG stands to achieve, you will be a success story. If you adopt this intelligent policing that the IG lays a lot of emphasis on it, you must surely get results. The community policing, which is his baby, he's so passionate about it. If you involve members of the community and the society, they will be part of you. Whatever information you want, you always get it. They live with the criminals. And if they trust you, they will always give you vital information. So IG policies is paying off.
Recalling how well the state has fared under his leadership, CP Mukan says his topmost priority is to bring back the glory of the oil-rich state by ensuring that Rivers people go about their lawful businesses without any form of fear or intimidation, and at night go to sleep with their two eyes closed. In an exclusive interview with Security Watch Africa in his office in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, he recounts how him and his men were able to stop the activities of one of the most wanted persons in Rivers State, Ernest Digbara, aka Bobrisky, that has terrorized the state for years, to the extent that the state government had to place a bounty of 30 million naira on him.
We were able to get Bobrisky. As we all know, Bobrisky is one of the most dangerous criminals in Rivers State. They've been looking for him. A ransom was placed on him by the governor. He declared him a wanted man. and place a bounty of 30 million on him. So, like I earlier said, our intelligence-driven policing yielded a lot of results. We get information, we take it and work on it and ensure that we verify such information in details. I moved some of my men into Ogoni land, where Bobrisky is operating from. We were able to lay siege on Bobrisky for 3 good months. I've been working. I took it personal to ensure that we bring Bobrisky to justice. And as God will have it, we got results. Bobrisky is now history. His gang members have been on their heel and we've made a lot of progress. We've arrested some of them. Ogoni land today is very peaceful. People are sleeping and going about their normal businesses without any fear of attacks from people like Bobrisky and his gang.
The evil business of kidnapping is being tackled headlong by CP Mukan and his men as the state is becoming unconducive for kidnappers whose stock in trade is to deprive their victims of freedom by demanding for ransom and sometimes still kill their victims even after collecting ransom from their loved ones.
That man in Eche is a serial killer, he's a kidnapper. Most of his victims, he will kidnap them after collecting ransom, he still go ahead and kill them. His house is so fortified, if you are inside his compound, you cannot see outside. The fence, you will never know that there's a house there until you come in. So we started working on him. One of his victims who escaped make his own report. We were able to monitor him for quite some time. But at the end of the day, we were able to get him down. We traced him, he was arrested, his house was searched. There was a septic tank that he normally dumped the corpses of his victims. We opened it up, 4 dead bodies were recovered there. So a lot of revelations come. We try to find out if he's doing that in collaboration with others. But unfortunately, most of his victims, about 3 of those we recovered from that septic tanks are not Nigerian nationals, they're from Togo. So that story of serial killing stopped. We've been behind most of the kidnapping issues at that axis. But since we arrested him and recovered these bodies in his own septic tank, that axis, we're not recording any kidnapping issues there again.
Child stealing and trafficking in the states, the commissioner says, is no longer allowed to thrive in the states, as children are blessings and should not be used for business. The command busted a syndicate that specializes in stealing and selling children to unsuspecting members of the public.
It looks like child trafficking, but there's elements of kidnapping there too. But the child trafficking overshadowed that of kidnapping. They will lure pregnant young ladies who are pregnant. When they give birth, the syndicate will get the children and put them on sale in the market, which is really, really unfortunate. But most of them is an outright case of child stealing. They will lure these children and take them away. But unfortunately for them, we are always on the ground. Just like I said earlier, the intelligence-driven policing that we adopted here is yielding a lot of results. My men are all over the place, but people hardly notice them, and that has been yielding a lot of results. We save a lot of children that are being trafficked, and those involved, they are now facing the wrath of the law.
The dedication to fighting crimes and criminality by the Rivers State Police Command under the leadership of CP Joseph Mukan will no doubt boost the efforts of the state government to bring in the much needed dividend of democracy to the Rivers people. Ernest Enuneku, Security Watch Africa, Port Harcourt, Rivers.
Welcome back. Yeah, that was a report from Port Harcourt, Rivers State. That is a part one of the report. Part two will come in your way next episode of the program. We'll quickly call our attention to that this period we're still in the period of coronavirus. It seems a lot of people have forgotten that this coronavirus is still with us. In our drive to sensitize people about it, we did this report to tell us what is happening. Sit back as we bring you this report by Peggy Agbe.
The year 2020 came with lots of challenges. Major is the coronavirus pandemic. The world experienced a pandemic which had occurred over 10 decades ago but looked all new to the 21st century generation. The coronavirus pandemic ravaged the world and its economy with uncertainties for the future. Every nation across the world was affected, and some nations are going through the second wave of the pandemic, which has necessitated a second lockdown in order to curb the spread. With the latest news of vaccine called Sputnik from Russia with 92% potency and the joint initiative by Pfizer and BioNTech with 90% potency, there is hope for the world. With this exciting development about the coronavirus vaccine, Security Watch Africa had a chat with Dr. Emeka Fred Hilary Carnaby, medical doctor of Lead Strategies Health Innovative Plus, and Comrade Deborah Yusuf, the chairperson of National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives FCT Council, with both looking at the recent unexpected increase in number of people infected with the virus, and they had this to say.
A daily spike might be also because of the numbers being tested during a certain period, and so the results come at the same time, and a lot of positives are seen at the same time. Again, another reason could be that in other parts of the world, the weather is changing, and there have been predictions about when the weather changes, when the weather becomes cooler, especially in temperate areas, that this second wave of the coronavirus could come about. The other thing is that if you've noticed the trend as time has passed, fear about the coronavirus has kind of declined. And with the fear of coronavirus, even though that's not technically a good thing, but it's a protective fear is now being taken away. And what happens is that, like you said, caution has been thrown to the wind. And so the public health prevention protocols are being ignored, are not being practiced as stipulated. People are going overboard with social gatherings and not wearing the face mask.
It's not about a spike per se, but let me say it's because of the level of testing, because it has really increased. Because now we have more laboratories that are in for tracing and testing. So coupled with the fact that people have now gone back to the normal life, they've gone back from the new normal to as if nothing is even happening, to a more normal life. And also complacency theory, because it's like people are like, okay, you've defeated corona, so everything is done, it's gone. But it's not gone because corona is still here with us.
There is a palpable fear that some countries may not be able to get this vaccine soon, as most industrialized nations are already scrambling for millions of doses for their citizens. On this, Dr. Carnaby and Comrade Yusuf expressed their views.
They don't have even enough for the American population. Again, there's been a lot of discussions with Pfizer and other pharmaceutical companies. The issue here is that the number of doses they do have are not enough even for the American population. Secondly, we just don't need one dose. We need a minimum of 2 doses for any form of protection to be achieved. Are we hopeful? Yes. But what I would say, our sure bet until the vaccine gets to us in Africa, until the vaccine gets to us in Nigeria, would be the public health safety prevention protocols.
The vaccine coming to Nigeria, it all depends on the government and the collaboration between the WHO and the Federal Ministry of Health. But before then, it has to be established the efficacy of the vaccine. How safe is it to we Africans and particular to us Nigerians? because we don't want a situation whereby the vaccines will be brought to Nigeria and then it will have a different effect on Nigerians.
Recently in Nigeria and so many other countries, people seem to be lukewarm in following the laid down protocols for prevention of the spread of coronavirus.
The public health prevention protocols are still the way to go. Wear a face mask. I think it's very important. Let's still maintain physical distancing as much as we can. The crowding in places, social gatherings should be limited. Time spent in those areas should be limited. Indoor activities should be reduced as much as possible, and more outdoor activities encouraged because of ventilation and how the transmission of the virus goes.
We must take an individual responsibility. As you can see, we are out from the ease of the lockdown and we are like back to normal. So I advise that let us go back to the new normal. What is the new normal? The new normal is keeping to the COVID-19 protocols of social and physical distancing, constant washing of hands, avoid crowded areas as much as possible, and stay at home, stay safe, take responsibility for your health and also the responsibility of your members and also the responsibility of the people around you, the community.
Staying safe and keeping our families safe from this deadly pandemic is our collective responsibility as a people. Coronavirus can be prevented if we all work together by keeping the etiquettes of staying safe. Peggy Agbe, Security Watch Africa.
Welcome back. Security Watch Africa is concerned about the recent spike in the numbers and the deaths that have been recorded, and that is why we are calling our attention to it. But we must leave for other programs to continue. I hope you have gotten relevant information and you've enjoyed the program this week. Join us again next week when we'll bring you another exciting edition of this program where we can give you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Until next week, remain safe and blessed. Bye for now.